I'm gonna use this deck again.
Saggy. That was a good deck. That was good reading. Fuck, that was a good reading.
Well, you know, I've had this deck for probably, I don't know, I have so many fucking decks, I don't even use them.
That's true.
Look,
you got more tarot decks than a metaphysical shop.
I have more decks than a metaphysical shop. It's weird. And I'm like looking at all of the. I'm always just looking at and this isn't even all my cards. Like I'm just like,
no, there's a drawer over here full of them.
I'm just like and I just like have ones like this. People probably like, I love that deck. That's my deck. And it's like I've never used it before. It's been sitting here brand new, and I just don't even use them. Fuck. All right, what's going on, Sag, with you as we move into the 6th house? It could be a very boring house. I think Sag has got to deal with reality. They love escaping right now to find some place, but be careful when that escape goes. The first card that you got here is, you did get the Knight of Cups upright. You did get the Ace of Cups as your challenge. You got the 8 of Wands there as your overall, and you did get the 2 of Wands in reversed. So, you know, it's telling you to move forward more emotionally instead of being timid. Like, I feel like it's also getting out of emotionally kind of stuck, or at least things have been flowing. Keep them flowing. But this Ace of Cups here is your challenge. I feel like it's like, I don't know. It's like there's a doorway that you're pondering on or you're questioning because I got an 8 of Wands here that's flowing in the direction to go towards. But it's like the white dove's there trying to open up. God's trying to open up this deeper emotional door. But I think that you're having problems. You don't know exactly what the world is that you want. So it's like, it's kind of a weird thing. Like you're ready for anything. But I think that it's about time to define things. Yeah, 4 of Pentacles reversed. I think that, you know, you're not attached to anything right now of outcomes, so I think that's a positive place for you to be. You did get the Emperor reversed. You need to define things because you can't use this good energy, though, and not define things and just be like, I'm just going to go with the flow fully. It's like, yeah, no, you're going with the flow, but the flow is starting to go, we needed to define things. 10 of Cups. Yeah, it's time to focus on family. Start to focus on the ultimate love story and avoid that. I almost feel like, why is Sag avoiding the ultimate love story here? Temperance reversed. That's too real. That's too real. That's the ultimate flow. So I almost feel like you're in the flow, but you want to control the flow, and that's the fucking weird part. You can't just stay in full open flow. Like it's open flow of the spirit where it's asking for you to define things of where this is all going to go. Yeah, you got the Magician card. So I feel like, you know, it's time to make magic happen. And I feel like you're almost like afraid to make the magic happen. And you kind of want to be in a place where it's like, I like being in the place where it's like, I'm open and free, but you know, like I don't want to have to define things just yet. 4 of, you're not going to get any celebration, no. And whatever that you are so open for, which is probably South Node Scorpio shit, like, oh yeah, well I'm having fun with my friends. We're going out. We're going on vacations. We're going to a show. We're going. It's still not fully fulfilling. Last one. Oh, 6 of Wands. Yeah. So, no victory when you don't aim for the ultimate and you don't try and define where this is all going. So you need to have, there's at least definition. I'm not saying that you need to, it's got to be end all be all. Like we're doing this for the rest of our life, but at least needs to have a direction, an understanding of a mission, understand the Emperor knows what he's doing, you know? And I feel when you get that reversed, you know, you just can't sit in like everything's all, you can't sit in Burning Man land. Like, you know, you got the Tour here. This is definitely a great card. I feel like because it's like, look at where he can go, and I know that feels like you're a little small, little fucking rabbit here, but it's time to leap to the truth. What's the truth? What's the truth of what you actually really want? I feel like that's what you actually have to get to the bottom of here, instead of creating the false stories and narratives like, no, I don't know what I want. That's okay. And I'll figure it out. And you got joy. This is a great reading. Isn't it joy you want? But maybe you need to be specific on the joy, and maybe you're avoiding joy of love and just focusing on just joy in general. I think that, you know, if you block out the joy of love, then you really will have never full joy. Think about that. I'm not going to do school on that right now, but Jupiter, your own fucking planet. Yeah, the ultimate fucking good luck and abundance right now. Don't waste this shit, and don't try and not define things. Jupiter likes to remain open, but also Jupiter expands with the abundance of wanting a gift. I feel like there's a great gift that you have to start to define what it is, and start to, or that you could have the good luck to have it, or to have the abundance that you want. So it has to be defined on what the abundance is coming for. Jupiter's exalted in Cancer because the emotions defined. Jupiter's at home in Sag because it's got a belief. You're kind of sitting in not beliefs and sitting in kind of like, I'm open, but I don't know. Now it's time to start defining, because I don't think that you're in a place where you have anything bad happening anymore. But if you do have anything that's still holding on to where you feel like you can't have anything to celebrate for anymore, or especially because there's some people with that Four of Wands, especially if you're in a bad marriage or you're in something and you haven't faced that shit yet, and you feel like you can't climb the mountain to where you want to go, like that shit, that's got to be addressed. But I'd say for the majority, though, it's easy for whatever Sages are going through right now. Just don't, and look at that, you know, you're blocking off your sexual energy, and that's part of your problem too, of a deeper connection. And the more, you know, it's more than just sex, right? It's the deep primal. It's like going to the deepest levels emotionally, and that's where your shadow is. It's like you're too afraid of that. That requires like full commitment, like full, like, oh shit, we're really in this deep. You're too afraid to go too deep. But that's the gift here. So if you're putting up fucking, you know, chastity belts, not gonna be good. Look at that big decision this week. I'm interested to see what this sacral chakra oracle is going to say right now, because this is going to be interesting with this decision. Passion warrior. And you know, I feel like that's the most badass thing you can be in the world, is a passion warrior for love. And in balance with earth, and in balance with the joy. And you know, I love this card because it's connecting with the earth, but also it's free above. It's in all things. It's in earth and the air, and it's still growing and connected to all things, and in equal balance. And that passion warrior that's ready to show up and connect to it all, instead of being in this kind of disconnected place and trying to keep things too in between and not defined. A passion warrior is defined. It's a warrior with a passion that's defined. And that's your big decision this week, is like, it's time to start making choices about what you want in your life, instead of sitting in the I don't know, or I've already made my choices of I don't know. Like, no, your majors. You got the Fool card. It's time to be foolish and go into the love story and have a new journey and have fun. And make decisions off that passion warrior that feels like, you know, maybe you think you're a little crazy for doing it, but it's looking up at the stars and going, this is where I'm supposed to go. This is the new world. It's the burning house behind it. It's leaving it and going into that new energy. But don't be foolish and miss this opportunity and be like, I don't need to make decisions. I don't need to be a passion warrior. I don't need to fucking do anything. I can just keep moving forward and just seeing what happens. Like, you know, you need to make decisions on things here. I'll even play one more card with that. Judgment. I mean, this is it. Wow. Time to raise to a calling. First house, Aquarius, Saturn. It's time to define what you want, instead of disconnecting and not knowing what you want. You have to actually define what you want and what you want to connect with, instead of trying to disconnect. And Saturn in the first, whenever you see it, you either limit what you are, or when it transits there, it defines who you are, or where you limit yourself from what you could be. This is your issue. You're limiting yourself from the connections that you really want in your life, or the connection itself. But the connective energies of defining is your problem. And you need to step away from fucking disconnecting from that and step back into the connection of that. Back to you, Brian.
Yeah, nothing worse than a Sag that limits themselves. Come on, especially with love.
Sages are Geminis now, and Geminis are Sages. So we're just going to have to like swap them.
God, it's so flip-flop. But for you, I think it is important, as the sun is finishing up in Aries, square Pluto in your second. It's like you do need to be a passion warrior. That card was great. Like your values have shifted and evolved and they've transformed. And it's like, take that into your love life. You hold yourself at a high standard. You want a high standard. Your love should be that too. It should be all those things. And then as we get the sun here in your sixth, with Mercury in your sixth and the North Node and coming into eclipses, like now it's time to implement those changes and purify your reality. So where can you make these changes? It's also making really nice aspects over to a lot of, to Venus in your fourth house here with Pisces. It's like, express the emotion, find comfort in the change. As weird as that may sound, you actually have to find comfort in the exchange, because that's expanding you and that's going to open up more love. And then Saturn's over there in your third, and it's like you're probably overthinking everything, especially with the sixth house transit. Like, don't get too caught up in your head. Just purify with God. You got the Judgment card there too. Like, where's your emotions trying to open things up? Where can you make changes to welcome in more? I think you're at a place to really get a high return right now from the work that you've done on yourself, but you have to be willing to like actually make the physical changes and not just be in dreamland. Just dreaming things isn't going to do it. Like, you actually have to mold your reality like clay into what you want. And that's going to welcome the love in. So put some love in that clay and mold it up too. And lead with your emotion and lead with what's going to make you feel ultimately more comfortable, and you'll find that. But it's like you have to purify things too and clean up reality.
Well, you know how I used an ultimatum about, I think it was Scorpios would be homeless, right?
Yeah, you did say that.
Well, because now we're dealing with all this Taurus, Sag, you don't want to define what you want in your life? Well, you won't have a life to define. You'll just be, everything that's good that you could have in your life will be stripped away, and you'll be left with the shit that was an illusion, and the drug dealers and the darkness and all the places that you thought you could escape, and there'll be nobody there anymore, and the clubs will be closed, and you'll be alone.
Don't go there.
Yeah, don't go there. This is time for you to like, it's sober. I hate to say it. Sagittarius want to have a great time, but like, this is where the Sagittarius goes sober. North Node Taurus. And builds a better life.
Escaping isn't going to bring the change you're looking for.
Yeah, in the dark realms, like in the, the taboo. Like, get away from the taboo. Like, this is where you sober up and build like the pure, better life. And I know that sounds boring, but you're already full on so much taboo shit. Like, it's like, it's actually be more exciting building a life than it is to always have a life where you can dip back into the pool of darkness. Well, that was a fun one.